You are not bound by the past, not by your family's mistakes, not by their choices, not by the legacy they left you. It's time to release yourself from the chains that were never yours to carry. The past is a place of reflection, not a place of residence. The stories of those who came before you are valuable only when viewed through the lens of wisdom, not when they are allowed to define your future. In every family, there are unseen forces that shape the dynamic, often in ways that trap you, that limit you. The old patterns, the generational habits, the inherited beliefs, they are all invisible threads tying you to a legacy you never chose. They can shape your perceptions of yourself, of the world, and of what is possible. But you are not a prisoner of this inheritance. You are the sovereign of your own destiny. You can choose how to respond to the past, but more importantly, you can choose how to move forward. There's a deep truth here, one that most people avoid facing. You can't change your family. You can't rewrite the history of who they are, of what they've done, of the values they instilled in you, whether consciously or unconsciously. But you can change how you respond to them. You can change how their behavior, their expectations, their judgments, and their beliefs affect you. You are not bound to live within the limitations they set for you. You are not required to live out their fears, their regrets, or their failed dreams. Carl Jung understood the power of the unconscious show. Deeply rooted patterns are passed down from generation to generation. And he also understood that the only way to break free from those patterns was to bring them into the light of awareness. You must see them for what they are: old, worn-out stories that no longer serve you. You are not required to repeat them. You are not required to remain bound to their weight. But to free yourself, you must first recognize what has been passed down to you. The stories you've been told, the beliefs you've inherited, how often have they been the foundation for your own fears, your own limitations? How often have they shaped the way you see yourself in relation to the world? You are more than just a product of those stories. You are a being capable of rewriting the narrative, capable of standing up to the patterns of your family's past and saying, this stops here. What if you stop blaming your family for the struggles you face? What if you stopped waiting for them to change? What if instead you chose to change your response? Because the truth is, they are not the ones holding you back. It is your reaction to them that holds the power to either break you or free you. Think about the person who has hurt you the most, the one whose actions have shaped so much of your life story. What if, instead of holding on to that hurt, you chose to respond differently? What if you saw that person not as the source of your pain, but as the catalyst for your growth? It's not easy. It's not comfortable. But it is possible, because your response to their behavior, your ability to forgive, to let go, to choose your own path is what holds the true power. There's a revolution that happens when you realize that your family does not define you. You begin to see that their judgments, their criticisms, their expectations are simply their own projections. They were shaped by their own experiences, their own fears, and their own limitations. And when you begin to respond to them not as the victim, but as the creator of your own experience, everything shifts. You are not obligated to carry their burdens. You are not obligated to repeat their mistakes. But to do this, you must first take responsibility for your own reaction. You must reclaim your power. You must stop giving away your strength to the things that have happened in the past. Your family's actions, however painful, are not your fault. But how you respond to them, the decisions you make in light of those actions, are entirely yours to choose. This is where real freedom lies. It's in the ability to choose a new response, a new story, a new way forward. It's in the realization that while you can't control what others do, you have the power to decide how you react. This power is not small. It's transformative. It changes the very nature of your relationships, not by trying to change the other person, but by changing yourself. You don't need to fight against the past. You don't need to argue with your family about who they are or what they did. You don't need to seek validation or approval from them. What you need is to set boundaries. Boundaries that honor your own growth, your own evolution. Boundaries that say, I choose to love you, but I also choose to love myself more. These boundaries are not walls. They are the framework that allows you to engage with your family from a place of power, not fear. They allow you to interact with them without losing your sense of self, without being dragged back into the old patterns that no longer serve you. And as you begin to reshape your responses, you will see that your family's hold on you begins to loosen. You begin to respond, not out of old emotion or fear, but out of a place of clarity, compassion, and strength. You no longer react in the same ways. You no longer feel trapped. And in this newfound space, you are free to create the life you were meant to live. This is not about rejecting your family. It's not about abandoning them or cutting them out. It's about redefining your relationship with them. It's about taking responsibility for your own growth, your own happiness, and your own healing. It's about saying, I will no longer be defined by the stories of the past. I will define my future, and I will live it on my own terms. And this is the most powerful transformation you will ever experience. The moment you stop allowing your family's past to dictate your future. The moment you stop giving them the power to shape your response. The moment you take ownership of your own life and say, this is who I am, and I choose to rise above what came before. You are not bound to the past. You are not bound by the actions of others. You are bound only by the choices you make. And today you have the power to choose freedom. You have the power to choose how you respond to those who have shaped your world, to create your own response, your own reality. Because at the end of the day, you are the author of your own story. And that story, your story, is still unfolding. Choose how it ends. You are the one who sets the tone for every interaction, the one who decides whether old wounds reopen or begin to heal. This power, quiet yet immense, belongs to you alone. It is a sovereign right, not granted by birth, but claimed through conscious choice. The very act of choosing how you respond redefines your narrative, reshapes your destiny, and breaks the cycle that once bound you. Consider this. Every response you give to the echoes of your family's past is a moment of creation. It is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, a brick laid in the foundation of your future. With each mindful choice, you build resilience where once there was pain, clarity where once there was confusion, and freedom where once there was captivity. This is the essence of transformation, not in changing others, but in changing yourself. Not in controlling what you cannot control, but in mastering how you allow those things to affect you. Nietzsche's proclamation rings true here. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why, your purpose, your vision, your commitment to yourself is the anchor that steadies you amidst the storms of family drama, expectation, and inherited pain. You will learn that detachment is not abandonment. It is the sacred space where self-preservation and compassion coexist. You can love without losing yourself. You can forgive without forgetting, and you can engage without being consumed. This balance is the hallmark of true strength and emotional sovereignty. As you step deeper into this way of being, you will notice a profound shift, not only within, but around you. Relationships that once felt suffocating may breathe freer. Interactions once filled with conflict may soften into understanding. And even when conflict arises, you will stand firm, unshaken by the chaos, grounded in the clarity of your own truth. You become a living example that legacy is not fate, but choice. That family patterns are not destiny, but stories waiting to be rewritten. That love is not possession, but freedom. That healing is not forgetting, but embracing with wisdom. In this journey, you will face resistance, old habits pulling you backward, voices from the past trying to reclaim their hold. But resilience is forged in these moments. The capacity to respond differently, to meet old wounds with new strength, is your greatest act of rebellion and liberation. Remember, every step you take toward mastery over your responses is a step toward mastering your life. It is the key that unlocks doors previously closed by fear, guilt, and obligation. It is the light that pierces the darkest shadows cast by ancestral pain. So claim this power now. Stand tall in the knowledge that while you cannot change your family, you hold the master key to change your experience of them. You hold the power to create boundaries that honor your growth. You hold the power to respond with wisdom, not reaction, with love, not resentment. This is your freedom. This is your sovereignty. And as you walk this path, you will realize something profound. In choosing how you respond, you not only change yourself, you change the very fabric of your family's story. You break cycles, you heal wounds, and you create a legacy of strength, clarity, and love that will echo through generations yet to come. This is your gift. This is your power. Embrace it. Live it. Because the way you respond shapes the life you live. And the life you live shapes the world around you. Choose your response. Choose your freedom. Choose your destiny. The choices you make today ripple far beyond the immediate moment. They echo through time, weaving a new pattern into the fabric of your family's legacy. Every act of conscious response is a thread, pulling apart the knots of old pain and stitching in hope, healing, and strength. You become not only the architect of your own life, but the catalyst for transformation in those who come after you. This transformation requires courage to stand firm when others expect you to conform, courage to hold your boundaries even when it isolates you, courage to forgive without forgetting, and to love without losing yourself. It demands an unshakable commitment to your own growth, a daily practice of self-awareness and intentionality. Each moment you pause before reacting, each breath you take to respond with clarity instead of impulse, is a victory won in the quiet war for your soul. The path is not linear, nor is it easy. You will encounter setbacks, moments of doubt, and the pull of old habits. But in those moments, remember, resilience is not about never falling. It is about rising each time, with more wisdom, more strength, more resolve. Your power lies not in perfection, but in persistence. As you embrace this truth, your inner world transforms. You begin to reclaim your energy, no longer drained by the drama, expectations, or judgments that once consumed you. Your mind sharpens, your heart opens. You cultivate a clarity that allows you to see your family not only as they are, but as fellow travelers, imperfect, wounded, yet capable of growth. From this place of power, you engage with compassion rather than codependence. You hold space for others without sacrificing your own well-being. You listen without losing your voice. You love without losing your boundaries. This is emotional sovereignty, freedom to be fully yourself in every relationship. And in living this way, you become a beacon. Your courage inspires others to face their own shadows, to take ownership of their responses, and to break their own cycles. Change becomes contagious, a wave that spreads beyond your immediate circle into the world. This is the profound truth. While you cannot change your family, you can change the legacy you leave. The old stories no longer define you. The power to respond with consciousness and love is the greatest inheritance you can pass on. So, as you move forward, carry this wisdom close. When triggered, pause and choose. When challenged, respond with strength. When hurt, heal with grace. You are not a victim of your past. You are the victor of your present. The family you come from may shape the soil, but you hold the seeds. What you nurture within yourself grows outward, bearing the fruits of freedom, peace, and authenticity. You have the power to change everything, not by changing them, but by changing yourself. And that is the greatest revolution there is. This is your life, your response, your power. Own it, live it, become it. The power To choose your response is the ultimate freedom, the freedom to rewrite the script, to redefine what family means, and to reclaim your peace. When you step into this power, you become unshakable. You are no longer tossed about by the storms of others' expectations or reactions. Instead, you stand firm, rooted in your own truth and clarity. This clarity is a light in the darkness, illuminating the path forward when confusion and pain threaten to overwhelm. It allows you to see beyond the immediate turmoil to the deeper purpose behind your struggles there. Opportunity for growth, for healing, for transformation. You begin to understand that your family, with all its complexities, is a mirror reflecting parts of yourself that are ready to be faced and integrated. With each conscious choice, you weave new patterns into your life. You break free from the scripts that once dictated your reactions. You cultivate compassion not just for others, but for yourself, for your imperfections, your wounds, and your journey. And in this compassion, you find strength. Strength to say no when boundaries are crossed. Strength to walk away when the environment no longer serves your growth. Strength to hold your ground in love and truth, even when it feels lonely. This strength is not about aggression or control. It is about sovereignty, sacred ownership of your emotional and mental landscape. As you embrace this sovereignty, your relationships evolve. They become spaces of authenticity rather than obligation, of connection rather than codependence. You engage not to fix or to be fixed, but to be fully present, whole, healed, and free. This transformation reverberates beyond your immediate family. It touches friends, partners, colleagues, and communities. Your example becomes a beacon, encouraging others to take responsibility for their own responses, to break their own cycles, and to live with greater consciousness. You begin to realize that true change does not come from trying to control others, but from mastering yourself. The family you came from may have shaped your early years, but it does not define your future. Your responses, your choices, and your inner work determine the life you create. So choose wisely, choose with intention, choose freedom. The legacy you leave is not one of inherited pain, but of courageous transformation. It is a story of a soul that refused to be limited by circumstance and chose instead to rise, to heal, and to lead. You cannot change your family, but you can change how you respond to them. And in that choice lies your greatest power. Own it, live it, become unstoppable. This is your story. This is your power. This is your life. Now, step into it fully. You are no longer bound by the old scripts written by others, no longer confined to roles assigned before you had a voice. Each response you give is an act of creation, deliberate, powerful stroke, painting the masterpiece of your life. With every conscious choice, you redraw the boundaries of your existence, transforming inherited pain into personal power, fear into courage, confusion into clarity. The shadows cast by your family's past will not vanish overnight, nor is that the goal. Instead, learn to walk with them aware, unafraid and undeterred. Accept that the past is part of your story, but refuse to let it dictate your destiny. Like the phoenix rising from ashes, you burn through the old to emerge renewed, stronger, wiser. You will face resistance, not just from others, but from within. The familiar grip of old habits and reactions will tempt you to slip back into unconscious patterns. But every moment you choose awareness over reaction, presence over automatic response, you build resilience. You strengthen the muscles of your soul. Remember Nietzsche's words, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. Within your inner turmoil lies the creative fire. Embrace it, harness it, let it fuel your transformation. Your family is a chapter, not the entire book. You are the author, the editor, and the illustrator of your narrative. Write with intention, paint with boldness, live with conviction. You can't change your family, but you can change how you respond to them. And that is the greatest freedom of all. Stand firm. Choose wisely. Live fully. Because your response shapes not only your life, but the legacy you leave behind. This is your moment. This is your power. This is your life. Own it. Build it. Become unstoppable. The path ahead is yours. To walk each step a declaration of independence from the patterns that once bound you. You carry within you the strength to meet old wounds, not with resistance, but with understanding, not with anger, but with compassion. In this transformation, you become both the healer and the architect, shaping a new reality where past pain no longer controls the present. Every moment offers a choice, to react from inherited fear or to respond with conscious power, to surrender to the weight of history or to rise above it with clarity and purpose. The power lies not in changing others, but in mastering your own mind, your own heart, your own soul. This mastery is the true revolution that begins within and radiates outward, altering not just your life, but the lives of those around you. Your presence becomes a beacon of resilience, your actions a blueprint for freedom. As you embrace this role, remember that perfection is not the goal. Growth is a continuous journey, a dance between light and shadow, struggle and triumph, surrender and control. Embrace the process. Honor your progress and forgive your setbacks. Your family's story is but one thread in the tapestry of your life. You hold the needle, you choose the colors, weave with intention, weave with courage, and weave with love. You cannot change your family, but you can change how you respond, and in that choice lies your liberation. Rise, respond, reclaim. You are the master of your destiny, the author of your story, and the architect of your freedom. This is your moment. This is your power. This is your life. Step into it fully. And now, as you stand at the threshold of your greatest choice, remember this. You are not bound by the past, nor limited by the stories already written. You hold the power to choose how you respond, how you move forward, and how you build your life. Do not let the shadows of old wounds hold you back. Do not let the voices of inherited limitations stop you from becoming the fullest expression of yourself. True power lies in how you face the world, in how you stand firm in the storm, anchored in your own truth. You cannot change your family, but you can change how you respond to them. And that is freedom not just for you, but for the generations that follow, so they no longer carry the invisible burdens you bravely lay down today. Step forward with courage, with resolve, and with a heart unbound. The life you deserve, the future you crave is waiting for you to create it through the choices you make right now. You are the author of your own story. You are the architect of your destiny. And the journey to freedom begins here. Step into it. You can't change your partner. You can beg, plead, threaten, or cry. You can twist yourself into 1,000 shapes, shrink your voice, or scream until your throat bleeds. But if they are not ready to meet themselves, they will never meet you, because love is not a rescue mission. It's not a rehabilitation center for the emotionally unavailable. It's not a stage where you perform worthiness in hopes of being chosen. Love is a mirror. It reflects who you are. And if you don't like what you see, the work isn't to polish the mirror. The work is to change the reflection. Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." So when your partner's silence enrages, you ask, where am I silent with myself? When their distance wounds, you ask, where have I abandoned my own needs? When their chaos consumes, you ask, what part of me is addicted to the storm? Because the truth is, we don't attract what we want. We attract what we are. And if you are wounded, you will find someone who picks at your scabs. If you are healing, you will find someone who holds space for your growth. But if you are whole, you will not settle for fragments. So stop trying to change them. Change yourself. Heal the parts of you that believe love must be earned. Release the belief that suffering is a prerequisite for connection. Let go of the fantasy that if you just love them harder, they will finally see you. Because the most radical act of love is choosing yourself. It's walking away from what hurts, even when it feels familiar. It's setting boundaries, even when your voice shakes. It's saying, I deserve more, and believing it. You can't change your partner, but you can change the part of you that tolerates less than you deserve. You can change the narrative that says love is pain. You can change your life. And when you do, you'll find that the right partner doesn't need to be changed. They meet you where you are, whole and healing, ready to build something real. So stop waiting for them to change. Start becoming the person you've been waiting for. Because the love you seek starts with you. Because the love you seek doesn't arrive wrapped in validation. It arrives in moments when you finally validate yourself. When you stop begging to be chosen and start choosing your own peace. When you stop hoping they'll wake up and start awakening to your own worth. You can't force someone to see you if they're committed to blindness. You can't force someone to grow if they worship their comfort zone. You can't force someone to feel for you what they refuse to feel within themselves. And the more you try to rescue them, the more you abandon yourself. So let them be. Let them stay small if they choose. Let them remain in the shallows if they fear the deep. But you were never built for the shallow end. You are depth. You are so. You are fire and water, light and shadow. And you will not be tamed by someone who only wants your silence. Carl Jung taught us this. The unconscious will rule your life and you will call it fate. That means your patterns, your attractions, your stories, they're not destiny. They're mirrors. They're invitations to look within and wake up. So wake up. You are not here to prove your lovability. You are not here to endure love that makes you question your sanity. You are not here to dim your brilliance so someone else can shine. You are here to transform, to take your pain and alchemize it into clarity, to take your loneliness and turn it into self-intimacy, to take the betrayal and use it as the foundation of unshakable self-respect. The more you shift within, the less you tolerate chaos outside. Because now you know, you don't fix someone to feel safe. You fix the part of you that accepted brokenness as normal. And once you do that, once you begin to truly see yourself, you stop chasing love that requires your self-abandonment. You stop performing for crumbs. You stop trading authenticity for attachment. You walk with power. You speak with peace. You love without losing yourself. And eventually, you won't even feel anger toward the ones who couldn't meet you. You'll feel gratitude because they were the catalyst. They pushed you into the fire you were always meant to walk through. And on the other side, you rose, not bitter, not broken, but reborn, because you didn't change them. You changed you. And that was enough to change everything. And that was enough to set you free. Because the truth is, the one who hurts you isn't the one who breaks you. It's the part of you that stays. It's the part of you that bends, contorts, compromises, explains. It's the part of you that hopes love will fix what only you can confront. You weren't supposed to lose yourself in them. You were supposed to find yourself through the fire they lit beneath you. They weren't your soulmate. They were your shadow's invitation to heal, to evolve, to stop romanticizing dysfunction and start honoring discernment. It's not that they didn't love you. It's that they loved you with the same broken compass they used to love themselves. And you were trying to turn that compass toward you healing when they couldn't even see true north. Let that truth liberate you. You don't need closure from someone who was never open. You don't need an apology from someone who lacks the capacity to be accountable. You don't need their validation to confirm your worth, because real healing doesn't come when they change. It comes when you stop needing them to. It comes when you choose your growth over their approval. It comes when you finally say, I love you, but not more than I love myself. And that shift, that quiet, powerful reclamation of your soul, is where everything begins to change. Your boundaries become sacred. Your time becomes intentional. Your energy becomes guarded not out of fear, but out of reverence. You begin to attract from a place of fullness, not desperation, not hunger, not emptiness. And love starts to look different. It starts to feel like alignment, not anxiety. Like peace, not pursuit. Like expansion, not exhaustion. That's the reward for choosing yourself. That's the reward for not trying to fix them. That's the reward for doing the only thing you were ever meant to do. Grow beyond the version of you who believed love meant stay. You can't change your partner, but you can become someone who no longer accepts partners who refuse to grow. And that version of you, they don't beg, they don't chase, they don't perform. They embody, they attract, they choose, because they've learned the most sacred truth of all. Healing isn't about fixing what's broken around you. It's about no longer tolerating what broke you in the first place. And once you stop tolerating what broke you, you start building what heals you. You build a life rooted in self-respect, not sacrifice. You build relationships that feel like freedom, not obligation. You build conversations filled with presence, not pretending. You build habits aligned with your future, not your wounds. And slowly, everything begins to transform, because you've shifted from trying to survive love to creating it, not with force, not with fear, but with truth. And the truth is, you were never too much. You were never not enough. You were just in a space that didn't recognize your light because they hadn't yet faced their darkness. But now you have. You've stood in the storm. You've walked through the fire. You faced your own shadows and called them by name. And you emerged not perfect, but real. Not polished, but powerful. Not dependent, but sovereign. You no longer need to be understood by those who choose confusion. You no longer crave love that costs you your sanity. You no longer beg for closeness that comes with conditions, because you become whole, not through someone else, but through yourself. And that's what real love requires. It's not about losing yourself in another. It's about finding someone who reflects the truth you've already claimed, not someone who completes you, someone who meets you at your level, in your power, without apology. That kind of love can't be chased. It's not built on fear or fantasy. It's not manipulated into existence. It's magnetized by who you've become. And who you've become is not desperate, not wounded, not waiting. You've become someone who chooses peace over potential, energy over history, wholeness over habits. You've become someone who doesn't try to change their partner, because you've already changed the only person you ever had the power to change, yourself. And that's the beginning of everything sacred, everything lasting, everything true. That's when life starts to open. That's when the love you deserve starts to arrive. Because now you're no longer searching from a wound. You're leading from your worth. And when you lead from worth, you no longer audition for love. You no longer play roles in hopes of being kept. You no longer negotiate your needs just to avoid being alone. Because now you understand, loneliness is not the absence of someone else. It's the absence of your own presence. And when you come home to yourself, Even solitude feels sacred. So you stop clinging. You stop begging. You stop trying to resurrect a connection that died the moment you betrayed your own heart to maintain it. You no longer chase what could be. You honor what is. And what is right now is this. You are no longer who you used to be. You are no longer the person who tolerated confusion disguised as chemistry. You are no longer the version of yourself who confused drama for depth, because you have faced your truth. And your truth is this. You cannot be loved properly by someone who is still at war with themselves. You cannot heal next to someone who refuses to even look in the mirror. And you cannot grow inside a cage, no matter how much you dress it up as love. So you set yourself free. You cut the cord, not from hatred, but from honor. Not from anger, but from awareness. Because love without growth is just attachment. And love without respect is just survival. And you didn't come here to survive love. You came here to expand through it. To become more, not less. To rise, not shrink. To shine, not disappear. So no, you can't change your partner. But you can stop betraying yourself for their comfort. You can stop living in the potential of what they might one day become. You can stop asking someone to meet you in a place they have no intention of going. And instead, you rise. You walk forward. You lead yourself out of the familiar and into the unknown. Not because it's easy, but because it's true. Because finally, you've remembered who you are. And that kind of remembrance makes settling impossible. That kind of remembrance makes self-abandonment unbearable. And that kind of remembrance is what makes you unshakable. Because an unshakable soul doesn't beg for reciprocity. It expects it, effortlessly, silently, and with unwavering conviction. You no longer write love letters to deaf ears. You no longer water gardens in someone else's desert, hoping they'll one day see your worth. Because worth isn't proven, it's embodied. And now you embody it so completely that anyone who can't see it reveals their own blindness, not your lack of value. You no longer plead to be heard. You found the strength to speak once clearly and then walk away from the silence that follows. That's what happens when you become whole. You no longer need someone to complete your sentences. You've become fluent in your own truth. You've become anchored in your own being. And from that place, you see it all so clearly. You never wanted to change them because you hated them. You wanted to change them because you loved them. But love without willingness is nothing more than beautiful suffering. And suffering isn't love, it's loyalty to what refuses to grow. So you release them, not as punishment, as liberation for you and for them. Because maybe the version of you that loved them was also the version of you that didn't fully love yourself. And now, that version is gone, burned by the fire of awakening, reborn in the clarity of your own becoming. This is what real self-love looks like. It's not bubble baths and affirmations. It's not waiting for others to rise. It's choosing to rise alone, if that's what your soul demands. It's breaking your own heart to honor your healing. It's letting go of what once made you feel alive, when it's now what's slowly killing your spirit. And yes, it hurts. God, it hurts to walk away from someone you once would have given everything to save. But you've learned, you finally learned. You can't save someone who's committed to their own sinking. You can't heal someone who uses your love as a bandage for wounds they refuse to clean. And you've cleaned yours. You've sat with your pain. You've faced your patterns. You've chosen discomfort over denial, growth over attachment, truth over fantasy. That's not weakness. That's spiritual power. So no, you can't change your partner. But you've done something even greater. You've changed your relationship with yourself. You've stopped choosing pain and calling it passion. You've stopped calling inconsistency mystery. You've stopped calling chaos chemistry. Now, you choose peace. Now, you choose presence. Now, you choose love that doesn't ask you to lose yourself. And when love does come again, and it will find you not as a performer, not as a fixer, but as a force, unapologetic, unshakable, unforgettably you. And that kind of love, it won't ask you to dim your light. It won't mistake your strength for threat. It won't demand your silence for harmony. Because it won't be based on performance, it will be based on presence. The kind of love you now attract is born from truth, not trauma. It doesn't feed on fear or scarcity. It grows in the light of two people who have both done the work, who have met their shadows, who have faced their own lies, who come to each other not to fill a void, but to share a fullness. Because only when you are full within yourself can love become a celebration, not a negotiation. This is where the old story ends. The story where you stayed because you hoped they would finally choose you. The story where you believed your love could be the medicine for someone who refused to heal. The story where you traded your peace for proximity. Where you stayed because walking away felt like failure. But now you know it's not failure to leave what harms you. It's not failure to choose yourself. It's not failure to admit that love isn't always enough, not when it lacks accountability, respect, or safety. It is strength. It is sovereignty. It is sacred clarity. And from here forward, everything you choose must align with that clarity. If it doesn't, you will bless it, release it, and return to your center. Because now your center is home. Your truth is non-negotiable. Your peace is priceless. And your love, your beautiful, boundless, healing love, will never again be wasted trying to save someone from themselves. You know now, you can't change your partner, but you can choose again. You can love differently. You can love yourself first. And when you do, when you truly embody that self-love as a lifestyle, not a buzzword, you stop attracting lessons in pain. You start attracting reflections of your power, your peace, your purpose. And that is what real love was always meant to be. Not someone who changes because you beg them to, but someone who meets you in the mirror of your own healed heart, looks you in the eye and says, I don't need to change to be enough for you, because you never needed me to. You only needed me to be whole, just like you are. And that is the love that was waiting for you all along, on the other side of your courage, on the other side of your boundaries, on the other side of the moment you finally said, I can change you, but I can change everything by changing me. And when you finally make that change, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of deep reverence for your soul, you don't just heal from a relationship. You heal the part of you that kept repeating it. You break a cycle, you rewrite the pattern. You become the interruption to generations of inherited silence, codependence, and self-abandonment. You become the one who ends the story of shrinking to fit. You become the one who ends the story of fixing others while ignoring yourself. You become the one who ends the story of needing someone to choose you. Because now you have already chosen yourself. And that choice, that quiet, irreversible choice, it echoes in your boundaries. It echoes in the people you now attract. It echoes in the peace you no longer apologize for. It echoes in the love you give and the love you receive. Because now, love is no longer a performance. It's not a prize. It's not a battlefield. It's not a chain. It is truth. It is freedom. It is the sacred dance of two whole souls who do not complete each other, but expand each other. And to get there, you had to walk away. You had to let go. You had to grieve the fantasy and embrace the reality. You had to become the kind of person who no longer waits for permission to be free. So now you don't settle. You don't explain. You don't shrink. You don't chase. You become. You rise. You choose. And when love meets you now, it won't be confused by your fire. It won't fear your truth. It won't resist your clarity. It will recognize you. Because finally, you no longer seek to be saved. You no longer need to be changed. You've already done the work. And you don't just know what love is. You've become the kind of person who can actually hold it. Because real love isn't about what you can get from someone. It's about what you can create together when both people show up as their truest, most honest selves. No masks, no manipulation, no control disguised as care. Just truth and presence, and two people who have done the inner work to carry their own weight, so no one has to bleed for connection. This is the love your soul was starving for all along. Not the fantasy, not the chaos, not the drama dressed up as destiny, but the real thing. Love that doesn't ask you to lose yourself. Love that celebrates your wholeness. Love that shows up with action, not just apology. With consistency, not just charisma. With integrity, not just intensity. And you're no longer afraid of being alone, because you are no longer lonely within yourself. You've filled the void with truth. You've sealed the cracks with consciousness. You've replaced the ache with awareness. So, even if love never shows up again, you will never abandon yourself the way you once did. That is your liberation. That is your return. That is your arrival. And if love does come, and it will not find you waiting. It will find you walking, living, leading, breathing in alignment with the highest version of yourself. Because you don't need love to save you. You are the salvation. You are the miracle. You are the evidence of healing no one else could give you. You were never here to fix anyone. You were here to become the kind of person who no longer betrays themselves to belong. You can't change your partner, but you can change the kind of love you allow. You can change the standards you live by. You can change the story you tell about what you're worthy of. And when you do, you don't just change your relationship. You change your entire life. So now you stand at the edge of everything you once tolerated and everything you never allow again. Not because you've hardened, but because you've awakened. Not because you've stopped loving, but because you finally learned to love yourself first. You can't change your partner, but you've changed your center. You've changed your energy. You've changed your entire frequency. And now, the world must meet you where you are, or be left behind, because your time is sacred. Your peace is sacred. Your love is sacred. And you will no longer place it in the hands of someone who hasn't earned it with presence, purpose, and equal power. This is your moment to rise, to remember, to reclaim every ounce of yourself you once gave away just to be seen. You don't need to be seen anymore. You need to be met. And you will be by someone who doesn't want to change you, by someone who mirrors the truth you now live. But even if they never come, you are no longer waiting, because now, finally, beautifully, fully, you are enough. You are home, and you have become the love you were searching for all along.